Hardware and software upgrades to some of the SD75M and SD70MAC locomotives permit the engineer to operate remote consists as distributed power through the ICE screen controls. The concepts and train handling procedures that have been developed for locotrol operation are similar to those you will be using in integrated distributed power, IDP. But the way in which you actually command remote units will be different. All controls and feedback information have been integrated into the ICE screens at the engineer's control stand. In the next few minutes, you will learn how to set up lead and remote units for IDP operation, perform required air brake tests and other routine IDP operations. You will need to be alert to both ICE screens as you operate distributed power. You will perform procedures and receive information on both the right and left screens. Before beginning setting up for IDP, ensure that remote consists are properly positioned in the train. The train is properly secured. All units coupled to the IDP units are correctly MU'd and set up in trail. All IDP remote units must be set up first, finishing with the lead. IDP operation also takes advantage of the soft key approach to labeling the functions. There are only 8 keys across the bottom of the ICE screen, while there are potentially dozens of operational options, depending on what functions you are performing at any specific time. The computer changes the labels on the keys to make available only the functions you will need at the time. In addition to the usual conditioning steps, there are several switches that must be correctly positioned before you start. In the circuit breaker cabinet, the data radio circuit breaker must be on. On the engine control panel, the isolation switch must be in the run position and the dynamic brake on. On the left side of the control stand, the control and fuel pump switch is on. The engine run switch is off, and the generator field switch is off. On the control stand, the reverser is centered with the handle removed and the throttle is in idle. At the right screen, verify that the air brake is set as lead cut-in and the independent brake is fully applied to set the automatic brake valve handle to full service. The next message advises you to release the automatic brake valve when ready. You may perform this function after the carman has completed the inspection. The result of the leakage test is reported on the right screen. In this case, the test was passed and the leakage was recorded at 2.5 psi. The next step is to change the operating mode of IDP. You may have earlier noted the idle indication in upper left-hand corner of the left screen. This idle indication refers to the status of system, not the throttle position. In the idle mode, the remotes are linked to the lead. The remote IDP consists perform normal air brake functions, and the remote throttles are in idle. In order to operate IDP, the mode must be changed. This is done when all remotes are moved to the front group. The divider bar disappears, as do the independent control options. And the computer incrementally matches the throttle or dynamic brake of the remote IDP consists to the lead IDP unit. When it is necessary to make a cut in the train, the remote IDP consists must be put into the set-out mode using the ICE screens. In the set-out mode, the remote IDP unit's throttles are in idle and will not respond to the lead IDP unit. The emergency brake is enabled for control, The independent brakes are set to fully applied and all other air brake functions are disabled. The brake valve is cut out. The remote menu is used. Note that all locomotives are assigned to front group as no bar is visible and the present status of the remotes is norm or normal. Several new soft key options appear. On the far left, Select Remote is used to choose the remote to be placed in the set-out mode. This is a toggle switch. Pressing it will remove the pink highlight bar from one remote to the next. Above the key, the remote selected will appear. For illustration, the highlight is moved from B to C, back to B. When ready to select Set Out for the B remote IDP unit, the Set Out key is pressed, followed by Execute. You can note that the remote status line verifies that the remote has gone from normal to SO, or Set Out. The C remote is set out in the same way. Toggle the Select Remote switch to C. Press Set Out, followed by Execute. Note that a Cancel key is present on many of the IDP screens. Cancel may be used at any time to unselect a command before execution. Again, the remote status line reports that C has gone from normal to Set Out. Once remotes are placed in the Set Out mode, normal becomes an option on the soft keys. To return the remotes to normal status, the process is reversed. Select Normal, followed by Execute. The Select Remote key is used to toggle to the B remote and Normal is pressed again, followed by Execute. Although ice screen failures are rare, precautions have been engineered into IDP. As in conventional operations, ice information can combine to one screen by using the switch on the left panel of the control stand. Pressing the More menu key brings up the Resume Distributed Power key. After using the Resume Distributed Power key, the controls for moving remote consists to the front or back group and applying more or less traction and brake are now available.